guys sang that any song I've heard you sing all year. What's the deal with that? Everybody loves Rudolph. I heard great sound effects. Even Rudolph caught a cold and sneezed during that. So, thank you to Linton Hale as our greeters. You appreciate that. And everybody coming in and getting us set up. And John Graham, was that your first time on the setup team?
Yeah.
How'd it go? We look good.
Good fun, good fun.
Yeah.
Very super.
And Brian Purcell, we're thanking you in advance because you're going to help us to take down. All right. I'm not near a mic anymore, but we're still hot here. What do you want me to do? There we go. I think my mic's too hot.
That'd be you.
Oh. Okay, wait a minute. Can we call my wife? Too hot. Charlie Judson, a thought for the day, sir.
Okay. This is from Peter Coyote, who I understand lives in Sebastopol.
Yeah.
He's a Buddhist priest, an actor, an activist. He occasionally writes very well-reasoned letters to the editor of the Press Democrat. And he had this to say. I think the 60s were an extraordinary time. I feel bad for the kids today who missed this wonderful confluence, which was simultaneously a confluence of the global and the mythological. And speaking of Peter Coyote, Jerry came up with the idea that he'd make a great speaker. But between us, we've not been able to make contact with him. So if any of you might have some ideas on that or know him, I certainly want to talk to you. Just let me know. Peter Coyote, the local actor. Yeah.
Marty knows him.
Marty knows him? Is this true, Marty?
He does too.
Oh, how cool is that? I was only the only way I could help you is I could look him up in the tax rolls and you could suddenly appear at his house and see how that works. Okay. Visitors, guests, and participants. Who's got a visitor at their table? Somebody's still visiting back here. Right back at this table with Linda, please. Thank you, Patrick.
Gives me great pleasure to introduce Linda Taylor, our last morning as a guest. Stay tuned.
Whoa! Any other visitors?
Online.
At this table. There you go, Nick.
I can't keep up with whether Mike Carey is a visitor or a regular yet. But anyway, Mike Carey is here with us today.
There it is. I think that's it. You want to go up and greet people in the Zoom audience?
Just want to say welcome back, Nick.
Yeah.
Yep, and online we have Nate Burles, who will be our speaker.
Oh, Nate.
We got other people.
Judy Rice,
Judy Rice is with us.
Barbara Barney, and some guy named Gimbal. What's that all about?
Gimbal.
Yeah, the Gimbal is the name for this funny little thing. Okay, so that is our visitor and guest. Big round of applause for the visitor and guest. We're glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. And it's time to mute Paul so that we don't shout out. Unless you're supposed to. And first,
And you are welcome at any Rotary Club. And I hope you take advantage of that when you travel, because those are very rich experiences. And you will you're immediately accepted as a friend and colleague, and you'll have some marvelous times in different countries or different states, or even different parts of this district. And the makeups are a lot of fun. So Linda, will you please pin the badge on Linda Taylor, our new member? And let's give a round of applause for our new member. Yes, Linda Sinkay is Linda Taylor's mentor. So she will help you through the fermentation process, which helps you learn about the club and the club learn about you. And at that point, when you complete that, there's a checklist in your packet, you will get to remove that red tag off of your badge. So welcome and thank you for the honor of allowing me to welcome you to Rotary.
Linda. Welcome, Linda Taylor. Congratulations. You are a marvelous person. I was so excited that you said yes. Okay. It's time for Michael to take the stage and perform our annual meeting and vote today. If you have been sitting at home and saying, why am I not president-elect or on the board? Now's the time to jump up and try to take over the thing and do a dramatic television December show for us. Otherwise, I don't hear nominations from the floor. Let's hear them from Michael.
All right, thank you. Oh, as we announced last week, better. Last week, we announced the process of nomination is conducted.
Recording in progress.
Most recent past presidents who are available to the club. And we got together and came up with a roster of nominees. And I need to on up. Bill Sauber is going to handle foundation. Brian Bauer, vocational. Present but not here is Joe Gazowitz, who will handle club service. And international service, Joyce Koneko, also out there in international. Bob Keyser, youth service. Community Service Empire will be run by Dan Needham. And the membership is Kathleen Rogers. And secretary is Michael Fells. Treasurer is Jerry Mechelin. Up here. And soon to be immediate past president is David Mark Raymond. And president, we all know, will be Diana Curtis. We have president-elect nominee is Kathy Rogers. That's great. So that's your roster of nominees for the incoming board that'll take office in July. So at this point, we need to take a vote as members of this club. So Linda, this is your first vote, right? So all in favor of accepting the nominees? Oh, we need a motion. Thank you, thank you.
Second, that we accept and vote for the current nominees to our board.
I'll second it. That was BJ.
And
Seconded by Linda.
Lori.
I'm Lori.
Well, it
today.
starts with an L. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, so it's even more official. All those in favor of accepting this roster of nominees, please say aye. Please remain. All opposed? No opposition? These are our elected board. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. How cool is that? Bruce, you know, as it turns out, I was looking through and I went, oh my God, I missed Marnie, but I'm told that Marnie, you were brought up and lauded for your birthday and hopefully you had a wonderful time. But John Greps, did we mention that you had a birthday on the 9th of December?
I apparently slipped under the radar. That's perfectly fine. But
Nobody escapes in here.
Since you mentioned it, yeah, I had a really nice birthday. I had a hankering for Polish food, my days in Poland. Sorry, Joe isn't here. Sorry, Joe. It's on. Sorry, Joe isn't here because Joe always wishes me a dzień dobry every morning, which is a good day. And so my wife and I put together, we invited a couple of teacher friends over and we put together these favorite Polish dishes of mine. Bigos and borscht and a cucumber salad. And it was really quite delicious and a good time was had by a few. It was just a few people there and, you know, a couple of my daughter's friends from school were there and it's a very nice birthday.
Yay, congratulations.
Yeah.
So how do you say good morning in Polish again?
Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry. It's a lot of different phonetics.
Chico.
Yeah, you'll probably say it like Joe. Dzień dobry.
Yeah, that's his southern accent. New Jersey.
Yeah, so thank you, everyone. It's nice.
Yeah, happy birthday to you. And, wow, Angela Lustig. What are we gonna say about Angela?
Well, this is a big one for her. It's going to be unusual though, because her birthday is the 22nd. And over the years, she always insisted that we don't celebrate Christmas and her birthday at the same time. However, certain things have occurred in our lives and we're going to be doing Christmas and birthdays at the same time at a restaurant when our kids come on down from Rockford area this weekend. So we've made it another year.
Thank you.
Don't call me Captain.
I'm calling everybody Captain.
Yeah, we're gonna celebrate today by going to Costco and getting a hot dog and a Pepsi. But I got overruled, and so we're gonna go to the Palace Hotel for about 3 days over Christmas. So that's it. Yes,
Great celebration. Enjoy that.
thank you.
Okay, and anniversary, Jim Glom. Is Jim Glom in the audience? I don't see Jim Glom, but I hope he knows it's his anniversary. Do you notice the date? So 24? Yeah, I guess. Way to go, Jim. So, and Rotary anniversaries, Barbara, unmute yourself online. How are you feeling on your Rotary anniversary?
It's been interesting. My Rotary journey has been very interesting. I actually joined the Petaluma Valley Club December of 1989. And I know, David wants us to kind of say what was our aha moment. And all I can say is there have been lots. But I think that the part that's the most important is how we've created a home where we can touch other people's lives and help them make their life better, whether that's our student of the month or it's solar cookers for a secondary school in Uganda, or farming techniques in Ecuador, or visiting friends and Rotary friends in Mexico. There are so many ways that we are able to, through Rotary, reach out and help people make their lives better. We are here by the accident of birth. Through Rotary, we can help other people whose maybe their accident of birth wasn't quite as fortunate. So yeah, Rotary's, yeah, pretty good. I like it, obviously.
That's lovely. Thank you, Barbara. And congratulations. Okay. Hey, what's the deal here, PJ? We were promised a story. Linda put up the slide and showed you. What's happening here?
No, don't blame me. So this is a sunny spot down called Las Brillas, and that's the Barrels. And it's a enclave of folks from the north that come down and spend 6 months of their lives down here on the beach, having nothing but fun, messing around. I know, it's awful. They shirk their duties in wintertime at home, and they go down to this place and they do things like stand-up paddle boarding, getting on ATVs on the beach, releasing young turtles just born the day before, hatched out, things like that, hiking up arroyos. It's an awful place. You just don't want to go there. Too much activity. And to top it off, they have a 10-court pickleball resort. Top notch pickleball. It's done on a tennis court, and it's done with paddles, hard paddles, and kind of a wiffle ball, a little bit bigger than a tennis ball. And that has captivated all those folks down there. They all belong to one club or another, and they all play. And when it rains, you ought to hear them moan. Oh my God, we can't go do pickleball today. Are you going to do pickleball? What time are you doing pickleball? I did pickleball yesterday. So anyway, it is really fun down there with our friends Tom and Chris, who are down there for 6 months at a time. And the friend set is amazing. You just walk around the street. Hey, how you doing, Holly? Oh, come on in. And you're walking through the house, and it's just so convivial, all of it down there. Real fun.
Where is it?
It's 1 hour north of Cabo on the Baja. So it's put Ellie and I onto taking a look at maps of all of Baja and thinking about adventures in the future, because it's a spectacular place in a lot of ways. So thanks for asking, David.
You are the traveling man. And total moment of gratitude. Let's hear from Linda.
That's my firstborn, Jimmy. I'm so proud of him. Many of you know him. I remember he came to my first Rotary meeting, and what a journey. It's been my joy and privilege to raise him into the fine young man he is. And he's getting his captainship here after a lot of hard work. We're just very proud. He's in Alameda County, and it's been a journey. He started out at Gold Ridge right here. And I used to say, if you see my other two kids, you must be shopping at Furcrest. You didn't want to see Jiggy because that meant your house was on fire. But anyhow, in honor of this momentous occasion, I'm donating $100 to Rotary International Foundation to make sure I get my every Rotarian every year donation. I've been doing a lot to the club's foundation, but we can't forget Rotary International either. So that's how I'm going to express my gratitude, and thank you for the recognition, President David.
Show one more time because we're down to attitude of gratitude. Is there somebody in the audience who says, I feel inspired at the end of the year, I got to get this in before the tax guys get into my account? No, but think about this. If you are somebody who is 70 and a half plus, and you have a retirement account, and you're getting required minimum distributions, you can take money from there and you can donate to any nonprofit that you want that can accept the money. And you don't pay taxes on that money as it comes out, and you're not taking something out of your savings that you've been taxed on already. The calendar. Redwood Empire Food Bank. Dan, I understand there are only 4 of us who are signed up currently. Is that correct?
Yes, so tomorrow, 2 to 4 o'clock.
2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Thank you.
2 o'clock to 4 o'clock tomorrow, and we definitely need some more hands. I mean, it is the holiday season, so we need to get those large bags of produce broken down into small bags of produce to go get to people and feed them for their holidays day after. So
Excellent.
hope to see you there.
And every Monday, even through the holidays, right? I heard John Gregg saying, you know what? I'm off on the, what was it, the 27th?
Yeah.
Might go hiking. Our board meeting, December 20th, 5:30 on Zoom. Everybody is welcome. Just go on to the our website and you can follow that. And next week, by tradition, we are dark. So if you show up here, you will be by yourself. And if that happens, go on down to Sebastopol Sunshine Cafe, have breakfast and enjoy yourself. 23rd, Christmas dinner. This would be a good time for Michael, for you to share with us. Can Michael have the microphone, please?
We're in pretty good shape. My biggest fear at this point is rain. And there's about a 30% chance we're gonna get wet. So we really need pop-ups. The club has got 3 or 4. We put out word to everybody. We need about 15 pop-ups. So if you have a pop-up, if you know somebody that's got a pop-up, you know, other clubs, whatever. Yeah. Hopefully we won't need it, but if we need it, we're going to be glad we have them. So that's it on that front. A little bit of work needs to be done on Wednesday. We need to gather up the food. We have to make a run to Pacific Market and get that food and get it ready for Thursday morning. We need pallets, so we could use 2 or 3 people to help Wednesday afternoon gathering food. We also need to divide up the dinner rolls Wednesday afternoon. So there's a little bit of stuff that needs to be done Wednesday afternoon. Most of it on Thursday, and we're in pretty good shape for that. So thank you all very, very much for contributing to it, for working it, and for making these people have a great Christmas. Thanks.
Out to the other service clubs, sent them an email asking for it, and I got one from Runner Park, and I've asked Windsor. So if you know folk in other clubs, other places, that's good. The one that Joyce was tracking them for us, and unfortunately, those were left up during that last big storm, and they are pop-ups no more. They are lay downs. We are dark on the 29th also. And our first meeting is on January 5th, and that will be presided over by no less than Dan Needham. So, thank you, Dan. Any other announcements for the good of the order?
We now have.
Hold on a second. Here it comes. Thank you, Evan.
Especially for all of you on Zoom, we now have a button on our homepage. Right next to the donate button is another button that says member payments that go to the club. So if you want to pay your dues or your Zoom meeting fees, $10, please. Any money you want to give to the club operations, just click there.
Nice. Thank you. And thanks for getting that set up for us. Linda Sinkay.
I just have to say, now that we're getting out a little bit more these days, I've had more conversations with my Rotary mask on than I ever did with my kids. So buy your mask and let's talk about the good things that we do.
There we go. And I didn't see any pictures, so I'm presuming that nobody showed up at your house, Marty.
Nobody was there. It was lonely.
It was lonely, and you know, I can't help but mention, I don't want to, you don't have to pay anything for it, but at the end of the meeting last week, damned if I didn't find the chip bowl right here on, no, right over there on your table. Damned if that wasn't so.
Well,
So
I had to be at center for a treadmill test, so I had to leave early.
and I considered it a personal emergency, so I took it over to your house and I set it outside there, and I'm glad it still did. You know, I felt uncomfortable leaving it on the front porch because somebody could come up there and steal it like the mailman would do. Yeah. Well, any other announcements? Brian?
Greg made me think of the Russians, the Russian house, they're having a sing along 24th, Christmas songs and so forth. And yeah, I want to be there. And they're also looking for a new home. So that, I don't know if you know, the Russian house is way out there in Jenner on the very edge of the universe, got little tiny restaurants where Willow Creek Road gets, yeah, it's number one. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was-
The policy of pay what you can for meals, pay what you want. One more announcement then, Old World Carolers, a singing group founded by Rebecca Dwan, who's been together for more than 25 years. We're doing Christmas carols today at the Burbank Housing Community Room at 4 o'clock.
Oh, 4 o'clock. You say that's Burbank Housing?
Yeah, you know, near the experimental farm,
Yeah.
just on the east side of that, there's a, yeah.
Yeah, park in the cemetery and walk down. Okay, today's program presenter is Nate Burrows. Yep.
Hello, is it my turn to talk?
Almost, Nate.
Okay.
I just want to cue you up. So, just to let you know, some of you may know I do computer tech support, and along the way, for the last 15 years, I've worked closely with Bruce Burrows, and he's turns out he has a whole family and everything. So it was great. I got along the way to meet his kids who grew up here in Sebastopol and went off to college, so now they're empty nesters, but one of them has flown back to the vicinity and has begun to give back to the community. And Bruce contacted me and said, hey, you think Rotary might want to help with something that Nate is up to? And I'm not going to steal his thunder. He will provide the context, but Annalee grad and member of the community by participation is Nate Burrows.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Can you all hear me okay? Is it loud enough for those who are in person? All right. All right, good morning. Yeah, my name is Nate Burrows. Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. And I coach the West County High School speech and debate team. I want to thank you all for having me here as a speaker. I've always found that the Sebastopol community is incredibly warm and receptive to our team. And I just want to thank you all again for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I think what I'll do with my time is give you a little bit of background on myself, on why I like coaching speech and debate, tell you all a little bit about speech and debate, just as a matter of interest. And then I'll hit you with why I'm actually talking to you, talking to a Rotary, and how I would envision you guys maybe helping us out with our program and making a pretty big impact if that's something you might be interested in doing. So just the background on myself, I am not an English teacher, which sometimes confuses people. The first half of the year, I usually have the students on the speech and debate team asking me, what class do you teach? To which I reply to them, none of the classes. So let me just ask the audience, actually. I don't really have a video feed into you guys, I think, unless I do. But how many of y'all participated in some type of speech event in high school? Speech and debate or theater or something like that? It's a show of hands. Was there a lot of hands up? I didn't actually, I don't have a video feed. Yeah. Okay. All right, one more hands up. How many of you would rather have done literally anything else in high school than do public speaking? Okay. A few hands. Yeah, it's challenging, and so it's really great.
5 of us.
5? Yeah, it's really great to see the students at the school actually embrace public speaking and charge headfirst into doing it. The reason why I like being the coach, even though I'm not an English teacher, is that I'm an enthusiast. I really like speech and debate. About 10 years ago, I was a freshman at Annalee High School, and I took a big step to join the speech and debate team. I was hooked right from the start when I first saw the activity. The team had stopped by my middle school, Brookhaven, and they did a sample debate in front of everyone. And they kept it light and fun with topics like Spider-Man is better than Batman, or is Christmas the best holiday, or olives are gross, affirm or deny. And I saw it as kind of a fun way to express ideas and compete. And then I was on the team for all 4 years of high school. The team was led and built by the wonderful Lynette Williamson, who did incredible work inspiring us and making the team a welcoming environment for all students. It was sort of a living example of build it and they will come. The team at that point had around 60 members. So many people eager for speech and debate. We would spill into multiple classrooms just to fit all of us. So that was my high school experience. Then I went to college, UC San Diego, graduated, came back home to Sebastopol. And in that time, Lynette Williamson had passed away. I had a strong desire to keep the team going and to keep the Sebastopol speech and debate enthusiasm alive. Not just the enthusiasm for the high school, but it's really important for the overall broader community. So I stepped in and I became the coach of the team, even though I'm not a teacher. At the time, I was working full-time in software sales. Now I work full-time, not in sales, but in environmental consulting. I help folks navigate the California Environmental Quality Act, if any of y'all are familiar with that, assessing things like wildfire risk, impacts of new developments to water resources, geologic seismic risk, and all that fun and fascinating stuff. When I came on as the coach of the team had 4 students, it had no coach, and they had a lot of coffee. Those 4 students, they were inspired. They were going without a coach, just kind of doing their best, representing themselves at the tournaments. They were hard workers, and I had a really great time working with them. They were the type of students who would constantly check pretty much every day, like who is the current #1 valedictorian, who got the A++ on their test. Just a complete opposite from how I was in high school. That wasn't what I did at all. But it's good. They're really inspired students. They're really ambitious, and they really loved to go to every single tournament. Since then, since starting with those 4 students, the team has gotten bigger. It has about 30 people now, which in my mind I think makes it one of the biggest clubs at the school. I think with the exception of Interact, because I know the Rotary has done a lot of support for the Interact program, and I think there's a lot of students engaged with that, probably as a result of the work that the Rotary has done, very successful work. So, thank you for doing that. But yeah, I think the team is pretty large. There's a lot of engagement and there's a lot of momentum to get even bigger. The economic spectrum of our team ranges from low income to upper middle class, which encourages a differentiation of voices that develops our team accordingly. Parental involvement runs the whole gamut from heavily involved and tremendously supportive to uninvolved. The general student population at West County demonstrates proficiency in the creation of ideas and the composition of work. However, some students have that drive to strengthen their oratorical composition skills, which is where the West County Speech and Debate team kind of comes in. It offers those students who represent multiple intelligences the opportunity to expand and strengthen their skill sets. Persuading an audience to accept an idea is a real world talent that's necessary for a range of vocations outside of the classroom. West County's Speech and Debate team encompasses a multiplicity of objectives. It focuses on the basic as much as the advanced. It is created to further a student's desire to embrace leadership and demonstrate it on a proactive basis that enriches that student as a young orator. The skills and curriculum are concocted to be applied in the real world as much as the classroom. Inevitably, the true benefit lies in the student's ability to transfer those skills from the school to the real world. As the coach of the team, I try to ensure that the team interacts with all levels of ability. So in 2021, we've gained about 10 new members. And for all of those new members, it's their first time doing debate. So they're taking a big step. They're really putting themselves out there. And now I kind of want to talk about where the Rotary comes into this. Part of what I'm saying about growing our team and getting larger, our student officer team visited approximately 60% of Annalie's classrooms last year when the whole school was all virtual. And this was entirely their idea. They would come in before the teacher started the lesson, they would come in, give a pitch for speech and debate, say, hey, come on down, come join our team. And so they visited over half the classrooms of the entire school to get new people to join. And they're doing the same this year, just in person, so it's a little bit easier. Our debate season is the longest of any team, sports team, any type of thing, because we span from pretty much the start of the school year in September through past the end of the school year to June, July. We participate in tournaments against teams from other high schools throughout the whole school year, usually on Saturdays. And the school is obligated to provide a minimum number of judges to these tournaments. So here's where the Rotary could really help us. Because if we can't find enough judges, some of our teams can't participate. This actually happened 3 weeks ago at one of our latest tournaments. We had 6 students signed up to attend, and they weren't able to attend. Because we would have to have supplied 2 judges and 2 parent judges, and none of the parents were available. And so I just had to drop every single entry. So that was kind of disappointing. It was disappointing for me and for the students. I kept on one of the entries. It was a bit of a violation of the rules. But that kid's parent has been coming out to like every single tournament, constantly volunteering, taking PTO time off work because he works on weekends. And so I figured he had built up enough capital in my mind that yes, I'll break the rules. I'll let your kid get in the tournament, even though you can't get PTO, because I mean, he was trying really hard to make it work. So I admired that and say, okay, I'll make this one exception. But I don't want to have to be constantly doing that. I don't want West County to be the school with like judge manifest in big red with an X. I'd rather if we could get some judge volunteers from the wonderful folks at this Rotary we might be able to help the students compete, increase and bolster our tournament participation, while also helping run the tournaments by providing enough judges to make it work. So what is judging? What does it mean to judge at a speech and debate tournament? Usually it's parents acting as judges. And that's our first look. Parents act as judges when they can, but sometimes we do need more people. In previous years, I used to be the judge for the team as well as being the coach, which made things easy. It was usually, we only need like 1 or 2 judges per tournament. And if I'm one of the judges, I can usually get one more parent to come be the judge. But this year, I'm one of the league directors for the whole Bay Area. I'm the director of parliamentary debate. And so I have to be in the back running the tournaments and typing away at a website and pairing all the different debate rounds. And so that means that I can't be the judge. And so the burden on the parents has commensurately increased a little bit. Some of these students that I was talking about, highly motivated, highly ambitious, all want to be #1 valedictorian, big dreams and big ambitions. They want to go to every single tournament. The time commitment for their parents can get pretty darn taxing. 15 Saturdays out of a year is a lot to ask of anybody, because that's how many tournaments we do. It's a lot. I'm hoping the Rotary could help out by sending a judge volunteer to a tournament, or at the very least, sending out a little blast. Here's a tournament, January 8th. Does anyone want to sign up, volunteer, help out some kids for the day? Just check if there's anyone who's free and interested and willing to donate their time. That would be my ask. So any adult can be a judge. It doesn't have to be a parent. Part of what our league does, the more affluent schools, usually the private schools, they actually hire judges, and it costs like $170 for the day to hire a judge from this one website. And then they'll send in some bright college student, pay them well, give them a lunch. But we don't really have the funds to do that. So that's why I'm hoping it could be volunteers. No experience is required. Judging a tournament is very similar to being in a Zoom meeting. The judge's role is to listen as the students either debate current events or speak extemporaneously. After listening, you determine the winner of each round, provide written feedback on the student's performance, not oral feedback. So there's no pressure on you after the round to have a big soliloquy about who is the true eloquent elocutioner. And yeah, no pressure, just written feedback. Don't ever actually have to talk to them if you don't want to. Determine the winner and just try to have a little bit of a reason as to why someone won. The topics are going to be more serious than Spider-Man versus Batman. That was more of the middle school introduction. They'll be on, to me, that makes it more interesting, more fun as a listener. They'll be on things like current events, moral dilemmas, or if it's a speech event, it could be anything. It'll change every time. The most common speech event is called impromptu speaking, where you're just given a topic. As the student, you're given a topic, you have 2 minutes, and then you have to do a 5-minute speech on it. And the topic could be a famous quote, or like the word like truth or beauty or justice or something like that. And you just have to go for the races. It's really fun. I understand that there is someone in this room who competed in dramatic interpretation. That's also an event. It's a fun one as well. It's one of the speech events. So there's a lot of different fun things that you might end up judging. It's usually a good time. It does kind of take all day, so you got to have that in mind. It'll run from like 8 a.m. Saturday until 3 or 4 p.m. So it's a commitment for sure, but it's all virtual and you do it from the comfort of your house, and it can be a lot of fun. If I still have some time left, I could go through more judge instructions, or I can just or judge training, or I can just kind of cut it here and go to Q&A. I don't quite know. Does anyone know if I have time left on a quick judge training? I'm doing good on time?
Yeah.
Okay. So judge training, I'll just keep this really short. So for the speech events, if you would be doing that, there's 3 things that make a good speech that you would want to look for. The 3 main components of a speech. Number 1 would be the pacing. Pacing is how fast they talk paired with how slowly they talk. A boring speech is one where it's told entirely at the same speed for the whole time, just kind of monotone. I would imagine it as a car on cruise control. It's just not quite interesting to listen to. A well-paced speech has at some parts the speaker speaking very quickly and at a more rapid clip, and then at some parts, they'll pause like that, slow down, emphasize it. So that's pacing. That's something that you want to judge them on. So that'd be the number 1. The number 2 is tone. Tone is both the inflection of if you're speaking loudly, projecting yourself well enough to be heard by everyone in the room, by yourself as the judge, but also speaking quietly can be effective as well. You can draw in the audience, make them strain to listen to you, and add import and significance to what you're saying. It's a component of a successful speech. Tone is also the emotion that you're trying to capture during the speech. If you're speaking about civil rights or something, and maybe you're a proponent of expanding civil rights and something, you're trying to capture kind of an angry, righteous sort of mood, both your diction of what you're saying ought to match that mood, as well as the emotion behind it of what you're speaking. So it's, does the speaker adequately capture the mood that they are trying to display, or the mood that they are trying to inspire in their audience? So that would be tone. So there's tone and pacing. The final aspect of a good speech in one of the speech events would be composition. Composition is just the diction of what they choose to say. Do they actually have a coherent narrative in their speech? And sometimes they don't, especially the novices, because it's really hard. So the impromptu event I was talking about, they have 2 minutes on their topic to prep, and then they have to go for a 5-minute speech. And so once they get about halfway through it, sometimes it can be really hard to remember what it is they were trying to talk about. Or maybe they kind of ran out of ideas, but they're still trying to fill in the last 2.5 minutes. And so it stops connecting and it no longer makes sense. And so that's something that you want to judge someone. You say composition could have been better, when really what you mean is you ran out of ideas halfway through and you stopped really saying stuff. So you just try to phrase it in a nice way. Maybe focus on better preparation or something like that. So that's just the composition. Coherent narrative. Does the speech tell a good story? Does it have the points that they effectively want to marshal together to meet that final goal of the speech? So there's tone, pacing, composition. So that will cover all the speech events. And you notice I'm distinguishing here between speech events and debate events. Speech events are usually more extemporaneously impromptu. So impromptu speaking, there's also interpretations like dramatic interpretation, or one where they write their own speech called original oratory, and then they deliver their speech to you. A lot of fun stuff over there. Debate events are antagonistic in the sense where you have an opponent and you're trying to prove yourself superior to them. A debate event has those 3 components of speech, so the tone, pacing, composition. It also has a 4th one that you would judge people on called clash. Clash is how well they engage with what their opponent said. Their opponent said such and such and such, but I disagree. I disagree because, and then they should lay out some good reasons why they disagree. If they don't lay out very good reasons, then you say your clash could have improved. Clash, I think it's the easiest one to judge because it's really just kind of a gut check. Who do I think is right of the 2 competitors in front of me? Do I agree with you on the left or you on the right? And if I think you're more correct, if I think you're right, it's probably because they had better clash. And so that's really just kind of gut check yourself and you've got it. As judge, ultimately, whatever decision you make is the right decision. lot of judges have noticed, first-time judges, the ones without experience, are always worried, oh, these kids, they're so smart and it means so much to them, I probably will make the wrong choice. But that's never true. As a judge, you always make the right choice. It's kind of a tautology. You make the right choice because you are the judge. It justifies itself. So that is it. That is my judge instructions. No experience required. I really do hope that y'all might be able to come volunteer at some of our tournaments. They come fast and furious in the month of January. We have a January 8th tournament, a January 15th tournament, January 22, Jan 29, then February, and then March. Fun stuff.
You're looking for some signups, right, Nate?
What's that?
So you're looking for some subscription and signups, right? So a question for you. Do the judges provide transportation to the students in their cars?
Good question. Usually they would, but this year we're doing all virtual tournaments.
Excellent.
So while my practices are in person at the high school, the tournaments themselves are all virtual. So as a judge, you need not leave your house. Just
there we go. So how many people in the room have experience with debate, oral interpretation, theater? I saw a lot of people's hands go up when they did that. Are there people here who would say, yeah, you know what? I could do that. I see one. I see two. I see three.
But I'd be interested in lurking the first time, so
So we got some folks that want to be monitors. So Nate, can you send to Michael Cook? I know you have his contact information. Can you send him a Zoom link so that we could go on, kind of watch it and be mute in the background, and maybe somebody will be volunteering to get that right then.
Yeah, I can do that. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a question. Can I ask a question? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So in the past, we've actually had members of the debate team come into Rotary and do their speeches. It was kind of a contest, and we gave them a financial compensation for doing that. I think it's a great program. I'm wondering if we can do that again and maybe have you bring in a few students and we'll have a debate in one of our meetings or do it virtually. And the second part of the question is, so we've been doing this for a long time. I'm just wondering if you had ever done that at our Rotary Club in the past. I can't remember all the folks that did it, but we had some really fun debates. It was interesting.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, and thanks for asking. I actually, unfortunately, I never did the Rotary speech contest, but it definitely was running while I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was laser focused on the debate portion of speech and debate. So I loved going against somebody with the ideas, but I was actually never very good at giving the speeches. So I kind of avoided those, especially when the competition is fierce, like at the Rotary one. But yeah, I'd absolutely be interested in.
Wayne, that was a great question. So we're going to need to end the meeting, but if you would send a link to Michael Cook can distribute that. We can get a look at that. And I think you may have won some volunteers from here in the room. And Wayne, that was a great question and a great idea. Let's pursue that. So we've got Nate, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I'll sign off now. Okay.
Appreciate your work and the importance of speech and debate for students. So hopefully we will see you in the future. So we have, and there will be a book contributed in your name that's a diversity, equity, and inclusion book. It's being put in the library of a local elementary school, and we'll put your name in it, thanking you for being our speaker today. Thank you very, very much. So, joke for the day.
All right, do we want the way clean or not so clean? Way clean. The human brain starts out working the moment you are born. It never stops until you stand up to speak in public.
Well done, thank you. And Bill Somber, take us out with a song.
Keep smiling on the land. Trails to you. Everybody looking right.